During New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez's corruption trial this week, the prosecution's star witness testified that Menendez used a bell to summon his wife. Whoa. If I did that, my corruption trial would be the least of my worries.
Yeah, but when she came in, he had a pile of cash on the desk that was bigger than she was, and there are gold bars all over the place. So they had an arrangement of sorts. And then she went and got in her Mercedes that they didn't pay for and drove away to the Four Seasons where she drowned her sorrows. Well, happy Friday once again and welcome back. We remain at 888-630-9625. And we are standing by for more verdicts, more decisions out of the United States Supreme Court. I don't know what they're going to be about because it's a secret. Maybe they're going to announce who leaked that Roe v. Wade decision and the fact that she's been fired and disbarred. You know it's a she. You know she works for it too. Works for Jake LaMotta. You know. Funny stuff. You know, Sotomayor. I'm convinced my detective work has led me to Sonia Sotomayor's Supreme Court office and a law clerk for Sonia Sotomayor that leaked it. I don't think we're going to actually find out who that is today. I only think we should find out who that is because it'd be easy enough to find out. I'd find out in a day, but that's me. I wouldn't even have to waterboard or anything. I'd just find out the old-fashioned way. It'd be easy enough to do. But we are expecting decisions, verdicts from the Supreme Court that could come down any moment. Of course, there was the big one yesterday, and the news media is very excited about this, having to do with abortion, because, God, they love abortion, especially black abortions. They love black abortions more than almost anything. Supreme Court upholds access to key abortion pill. Unanimous ruling unlikely to be end. Yeah, well, that's the lead story, front page, upper right corner of the Washington Post today. And, the abortion pill, they love abortion pills. They love old-fashioned abortions. I remember Whoopi Goldberg said on The View that she remembers before Roe versus Wade, 1973 was Roe versus Wade. How old was Karen Johnson back then? Because she used to be Karen Johnson, and then she became Whoopi Goldberg, absurdly and ironically, and it's probably anti-Semitic too. But she said at the time that things were so bad that every time you walked into a ladies' room, any public ladies' room anywhere, you know what you found?
We got tired of tripping over women in bathrooms, public bathrooms, who were giving themselves abortions because there was nowhere safe, nowhere clean, nowhere to go.
That's what was happening in the United States of America until 1973. Every time she got tired of walking into public bathrooms and tripping over women all over the place, giving themselves abortions. That was not my neighborhood. I didn't spend a lot of time in ladies' rooms, I'll admit, but pretty amazing stuff. So they're very excited about that Supreme Court decision. It was a unanimous decision, and we talked about it yesterday because it happened while we were on the air yesterday. But we are expecting more decisions, we're being told, by the Supreme Court, and we will keep you on top of those. Also, it is worth noting, I think, that now another agent of Iran, this time it is Hezbollah, the party of Allah, Hezbollah, which resides in Lebanon, borders Israel to the north, and of course along the Mediterranean Sea, should be a paradise. In fact, it was for a long time, but then the wrong people took over. And Hezbollah is now raining missiles down on Israel today. And there are apparently lots and lots of missiles. They're trying to kill all the Jews, like the Democrats are. Because, the Democrats, we played the audio yesterday, New York City subway, day before yesterday, a bunch of Democrats wearing masks got on a New York subway. I saw more video of this too, and there were Orthodox Jews with the traditional garb that were on the subway platform when these people got on the New York City subway train, took it over, and demanded that all the Jews identify themselves for the mob of mask-wearing anti-Semite lunatics who self-describe as liberals and vote Democrat. And on this New York City subway train, it sounded like this.
Raise your hands if you're a Zionist! Raise your hands if
And they repeat. They do this call and repeat thing. This is your chance to get out. Yeah, the Zionists in New York City. This is the Democrat Party today. Isn't that amazing stuff? But in any case, now Hezbollah, with the approval of the Democrat Party in the United States, raining missiles down on Israel because they want to kill lots of people. I'm telling you. So the court is ruling now on bump stocks. Bump stocks. This is a Second Amendment story. The Supreme Court has ruled that bump stocks, which you can mount on a firearm, are not machine guns. They're not machine guns because a bump stock will help you to repeat fire. Chaboom, 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 chaboom. I've never used a bump stock. I don't know if I've used fully automatic machine guns, many times, but I've never used a bump stock. It does help. It uses the recoil to fire the next shot. And the Supreme Court has ruled, even though Democrats say, no, you can't have a bump stock because bump stocks are bad. They can't tell you what a bump stock is, but they know they're against them. And the Supreme Court, it appears, just a headline popping up so far, they've sided with the Second Amendment. I'm going to guess that this is probably a 6-3 divided court. I'll be interested to see how this one shakes out because you know how Democrats are. They don't care what the law is, and they don't learn anything about firearms. They've been given decades and decades to learn anything about firearms, and they still haven't. And they say, oh, no, a bump stock, that's like a machine gun, because they don't know what a machine gun is. And so they want to ban everything because, whatever the Democrats don't want to ban, they want to make mandatory. And they certainly don't want to make bump stocks mandatory, so they definitely want to ban them. And it would appear that this morning the Supreme Court has come out in favor of bump stocks or in favor of the Second Amendment and against the Democrat Party's lunatic fringe case. And again, it's just happening right now. So we're going to get the story as soon as we have a story from the wire services or from whoever. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just walk out on a limb here and say this is going to be a 6-3 court. And that the Democrats, am I right? Yep. You just saw it? Yep. And it's a 6-3 split, and you don't have to ask who are the 6 and who are the 3, because you know who the 6 are and who the 3 are. And the 3 Democrats don't care what the law is. They don't know anything about firearms. They don't care. They do care about the Second Amendment. They want to ban it, just like so many elements of the First Amendment as well. So the Supreme Court rules in favor of bump stocks, and the split is 6-3, and that's a great ruling. So a ruling for America because, we like America. Yes, we do. We're on the side of America. And the Bill of Rights. The Democrats are not. Supreme Court strikes down Trump-era ban on bump stocks. Trump-era, not Trump ban. The Supreme Court on Friday struck down the federal ban on bump stocks approved by former President Donald Trump, the High Court's latest stroke, limiting the power of federal agencies to act on their own. I don't think that's actually what it is, but okay. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote the opinion for a 6-3 court. The court's liberal wing, led by Justice Sonia Sotomayor, dissented. So it's just so classic. The lefties on the Supreme Court always come down on the side of whatever the Democrat Party wants. And the law, the Constitution, have nothing to do with anything. They are there to, be welcomed at cocktail parties where lefties are hosting, right? So strike down the bump stock on the banner. And actually, this claims anywhere, I'm going to have to double check this because you don't believe anything that the news media is telling you. Trump had pushed for the ban in response to a 2017 mass shooting that killed 58 people at an outdoor music festival in Las Vegas, Nevada. We still have heard nothing about the cause for that. Well, they said he was angry with the hotel, something like that. But I don't believe that. It was a country music concert, and it was the biggest massacre in U.S. history, I believe, by an individual. Bump stocks allow a shooter to convert a semi-automatic rifle into a weapon that can fire at a rate of hundreds of rounds a minute. A semi-automatic rifle, you can pull the trigger over and over again. And again, I've never used a bump stock, but I don't think that is an accurate characterization of what we're talking about here. Speaking of which, I was talking to my best girl yesterday, and we're planning on going to the gun show is this weekend out by Dulles International Airport. And it's a great America's Gun Show. And we're planning on going out. It's Saturday and Sunday. It may be today also, but we can't go today because, work. But we're planning on going to the gun show because they always have great stuff. Lots of fun things at the gun show. Democrats are against that too because they're against the Second Amendment, variety of other things. So Merrick B. Garland and the Attorney General of the United States was the petitioner in this case, a writ of certiorari to the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. And honestly, Justice Clarence Thomas delivered the opinion of the court. Congress has long restricted access to machine guns in a category of firearms defined by the ability to shoot automatically more than one shot by a single function of the trigger, right? But never mind that, because semi-automatic firearms, which require the shooter to re-engage the trigger for every shot, are not machine guns. This case asks whether a bump stock, an accessory for a semi-automatic rifle that allows the shooter to rapidly re-engage the trigger and therefore achieve a high rate of fire, converts a rifle to a machine gun. We hold that it does not. So take that, because it doesn't, and that's the reality. But the three lefties, they always go against the Second Amendment and, on and on. Please, I'm telling you. I am telling you. Yeah, I'm going to have more on the court today as well, and there may be more decisions coming out of the court. But the bump stock ban, and apparently President Trump, according to two reports now, did approve it. And after the Las Vegas massacre, and I don't know what bump stocks had to do with that. The guy was a mass murderer with a sniper's perch, shooting down on an unsuspecting crowd. But never mind that. All right, so we've got that going for us, and I still haven't gotten to Joe Biden, because this happens a lot. A 9 a.m. to noon show. A lot of news happens while we're on the air. It's half the work day. Then people go to lunch, they drink, and not a lot gets done in the afternoon usually. So a lot of stuff happens while we're on the air. It happened yesterday, and it's happening again today, and that's great. I love breaking news. And the Supreme Court, once again, coming down on the right side, and once again, a 6-3 split, because lefties are here to ban. They don't seek to understand what a semi-automatic weapon is, what a fully automatic weapon is, or what the function of a bump stock is. They don't care about that. They see it's a Second Amendment case. They're leftists. They are against our Second Amendment rights, and they have, again, no idea what these things may do. And honestly, you got one Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown. She doesn't know what a woman is. I can assure you she doesn't know what a bump stock is, or what a fully automatic rifle is versus a semi-automatic rifle. Democrats, you know how they are. And I still haven't gotten to Joe Biden, but I'm going to get to him and the corrupt news media. We've got that going. And we have President Trump, because he did two different interviews yesterday. President Trump did. And today is President Trump's birthday as well. Now, this month, marks 2 years since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. It's been reported that the number of abortions actually increased in 2023 after Roe v. Wade was overturned, the opposite of what the left said would happen. It reached the highest level in more than 10 years, since 2012. And with the abortion pill accounting for up to 64% of all abortions, it's tragic, but it's no surprise. But preborn, I'm working with Preborn as a ministry of compassion that showers women and babies with God's love, providing free ultrasounds to mothers with unplanned pregnancies. And when a mother sees her baby in an ultrasound, here's the baby's heartbeat. It usually means that the baby's chance of having a long and happy life is going to be doubled just by seeing the ultrasound. And $28, listen to this, $28 sponsors one ultrasound. $140 helps to rescue 5 unborn babies. Your generous and tax-deductible donations will also help to provide women who choose life with assistance for up to 2 years. So please give the best that you can. To donate, all you have to do is dial pound 250 on your cell phone, and when prompted, you say the keyword baby. You dial pound 250, and the keyword is baby. Or you can go online and visit preborn.com/plant. That's preborn.com/PLANTE. All right, so that's one from the Supreme Court. And the lefties are going to be upset by this because they don't know what it is, but they do know they want to ban it. We have Joe Biden coming up and President Trump coming up. Joe Biden wandering off. Even on the radio, he wanders off out of scene. And we're at 888-630-9625. All right, this is funny. I thought I was right about the gun show, but I'm being bombarded by friends and by strangers. And in fact, on the telephone, I want to go in the Supreme Court ruling on the bump stocks. Let's go to Kennedy calling from Manassas, Virginia. Kennedy, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, good to hear from you, my friend. Yeah, just an update on that. The gun show is going to be this whole weekend, today through Sunday. And today the door is actually open at 1 p.m. for everybody. So I'm going to be at the Virginia Citizens Defense League booth, the VCDL, great organization. So yeah, you're more than welcome to stop by. I hope to see you down there this weekend.
Yeah, we're planning on being there. My best girl and at least one friend, we're planning on making our way there this weekend. Always a lot of fun. And let me ask you this, Kennedy. Are the bump stocks already being broken out?
They are, yeah.
They are,
those and the pistol braces. Those pistol braces are up there too. So since that ruling came down, there was actually an injunction out of Texas, and since the VCDO was part of that lawsuit, the VCDO members actually got to be included in that injunction. So that was good news for us too.
That is great. I love that. And I love the fact that you're so on top of the laws, and the gun shows are just great. They're great fun. People go visit them and say, wow, this is really mellow. It's really nice. The people are great. It's not what I expected at all, people say, if they've never been there before, right?
WMAL should do like a media thing like they do with CPAC, the Radio Row. They should do something like that at the gun shows.
I think you're right about that. I'm going to start talking to people about that. That is a great suggestion. Elie Mystal is a left-wing radical extremist, racist, mainstream Democrat. Elie Mystal, and he types for the radical left at The Nation, which is an extremist left-wing propaganda outlet. And he, of course, peddles his stuff at MSDNC because it's a radical left-wing circle fest in a hot tub. And Elie Mystal has an X account. He hasn't been banned because he may be a fascist, but we're not all fascists. And Elie Mystal tweeted in response to the Supreme Court decision a short time ago. He types, "And it gets worse from here. Third and final case is Garland v. Cargill. This is the bump stocks case. 6-3, Thomas opinion." Elie Mystal is black, and so they designate him to attack the black Supreme Court justice. It's an old Democrat trick. Goes back to the plantation. The Democrats been doing this for a long time. This is the bump stocks case. 6-3, Thomas opinion. Republicans v. Democrats. Republicans say that mass shooters should get to have their bump stocks to make it easier to kill our children. Well, nobody kills your children like you. Let's start with that. You guys abort 40% of the African-American population. Doesn't even make it out of the womb. Let's start with that. Secondly, if you're looking for who's shooting everybody in this country, find a mirror. Smell yourselves. Because you guys, Democrats, and, let's face it, African-Americans using handguns, using firearms to kill people at a rate of 8 to 10 times of the rest of the population. That is to say, white people. 8 to 10 times. And I've said it 100 times. I'll say it again. The problem is not our guns. It's your sons. Stop raising criminals. Stop raising killers. We should ban guns in Democrat Party households and maybe go door to door and seize them. The Democrats would like that. They like that kind of authoritarian stuff. Not really. We don't want to go door to door because I believe in the Second Amendment. But never mind that. And that's Elie Mystal. Very upset with the Supreme Court. Yesterday was a unanimous decision on abortion pills. He had to be happy with that, didn't he? But Republicans say that mash. By the way, kind of an interesting thing in the bump stock law was passed in the aftermath of the Las Vegas massacre. And a firearms expert friend of mine texting me a short time ago, the rifles, multiple rifles from a high floor in a Las Vegas hotel casino shooting down on the country music, pro-Trump people, at a country music festival outdoors. And he did have rifles with bump stocks. And when the police finally got to the room, they found that all the rifles he had with bump stocks had jammed because bump stocks are famous for making your rifle jam. But never mind that. These people don't know anything about any of this, and they don't care about any of this because facts are not really in their wheelhouse. Just overly emotional, uninformed, ignorant, Democrat stuff. So that's what they do. But Elie Mystal, hey, Elie, stop shooting people. How about that? Hey, Democrats, stop shooting people. Lay down your arms. Why don't you? Either that or, go join Hezbollah or something, which is, I think, the next step for them. Aren't they amazing? So we got that going. That we have going for us. And I love all the response to the Nation's Gun Show. So hilarious. So hilarious. And Second Amendment people, we're American people. We love the Bill of Rights. We love our freedoms. We know a thing or two about human history and the 20th century and about totalitarian regimes and what their priorities are. And more, we see the Democrat Party taking on those characteristics, don't we? But as gun owners, normal people, legal gun owners, we're one big happy family. Talking to Sebastian Gorka, who's a proud supporter of the Second Amendment, as am I, and we've enjoyed these activities together in the past. And he says, Second Amendment community is one big happy family, and it's true. Yes, sir. Your Democrat Party, they are not on our side. Boy, are they not on our side. All right, I still haven't gotten to Joe Biden. Let's get to, I got to get to some of the audio we have because news keeps happening, and that's okay. That's good. I like news. Let's go to Joe Biden, who is in Italy, and he's wandering off the reservation talking to some, I guess, member of the Italian military in camouflage with a maroon beret who's rolling up somebody else's parachute after a demonstration. And the guy was looking at Joe Biden like, what are you talking to me for? I mean, I don't speak English. I'm an Italian soldier, and I'm rolling up somebody else's parachute. The show's over there, pal. And the soldier was looking at Joe Biden like he's an idiot. Then the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, had to walk over and get Joe Biden by the elbow and turn him around, bring him back to where all the world leaders were, because Joe Biden has no idea where he is at any given time. I wonder if they brought any episodes of Hazel for him on Air Force One for the trip over. Thinking they probably did. He loves that Shirley Booth. All right, let's go to soundbite number one, because there was, now all these, the White House press corps, they all traveled over to Italy. They charter their own airplane. A very small number of them go on Air Force One as the press pool, right? And that way Cringe can lie to them on the airplane. And then the rest of the press corps flies on a chartered airplane, like they're traveling, like the LA Lakers or something. But it's the White House press corps, and they fly, try to land ahead of Air Force One so they can watch them land and all that stuff. And they get there, and they're there for who knows how long, a week or something. And maybe once or twice they get to shout a question at Joe Biden, but not very often. And they asked a reporter, one reporter asked, is the first chance they've had to talk to him since Hunter Biden was convicted of 3 felonies having to do with what? An illegally owned firearm, a pistol, Not the one that you see in the pictures on his laptop. That's a semi-automatic pistol, but his revolver that he got illegally after lying on federal forms. And it's the first time anybody's had a chance to ask him, hey, what about your crackhead, criminal, stripper, knocker-upper son? Are you going to pardon him?
I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know.
Brightest.
And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
And I will not pardon him. We've already been through this, though. How about commuting his sentence? Will you commute his sentence? Because really the question is, you know, commute his sentence. He's one of the brightest, most intelligent people that Joe Biden knows, which explains his cabinet. And our Secretary of State, who's the guy that started the whole intelligence community conspiracy to claim that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, that was Antony Blinken, who was then with the Biden campaign, and he was given the top job in the administration, Secretary of State. Amazing stuff. And he's so proud of his son, and it's true, you know, the addiction thing, and it's addiction. It's a terrible thing. And he's a drug addict and a hooker addict, and apparently a widow of his brother addict, and he's an addict of his brother's widow's sister, among other things. And then there's crack. But never mind that. Now, CNN, which used to be a news organization for a period of time, they've got a person named Laura Coates. She is an anchorette. And the question still hangs. You keep saying that you won't pardon him, but you can commute the sentence.
The president says that he won't pardon his son, Hunter. But will he possibly commute his sentence?
Well,
the answer is ahead.
Yeah, well, the answer was not ahead because they didn't answer ahead. But honestly, and as the news media say, hey, you're going to commute the sentence, then Joe Biden will just ignore the word commute and say, I'm not going to pardon him. All right? Pardon me. And remember the President Trump at a debate did that funny Hillary Clinton pardon me joke. Said Hillary Clinton said pardon me backstage, and it's like, hey, I'm not even president yet. But will he commute the sentence? Says they won't pardon. And then this Democrat hack named Philippe Reigns. Don't call him Felipe, even though it's spelled Phillippe. Don't call him Felipe. It's just Philippe. He takes umbrage if people call him Felipe. Very sensitive, these people, very emotional. And he's a Hillary Clinton person, a longtime Democrat Party operative. I've actually been on TV with him, not for a long time. But he was asked, what do you think? Pardon him, commute the sentence?
I hope he wins. If he doesn't, if I work for him, I'd say, Mr. President, on your way out the door, if he's still in jail, either commute the sentence or whatever the access you have to it, but politically, he can't.
Politically, he can't. That was really jumbled and confused and on the way out the door. If he wins or if he loses. If he loses, then on the way out the door, he should commute the sentence. Or he said he wouldn't pardon him, so that, makes it a little more complicated politically. And he's saying politically can't commute or pardon right now, because it would look so completely Banana Republic third world that even they would be embarrassed by it. But they'll go ahead and do it when the time is right. You can always depend on them. Joe Biden was asked about Israel. And again, I just mentioned that Israel is now being bombarded by missiles from Hezbollah, the Party of Allah, out of Lebanon to the north of Israel, raining missiles down on Israel and escalating the war. And they, too, are backed by Iran, right? The Ayatollah and the Islamic Revolution. And Iran is, of course, funded by Joe Biden and Barack Obama. That's where their money train comes from. But setting that aside, Joe Biden in Italy, asked by a reporter about Israel, and this is just such a goat rodeo. They're still holding how many American hostages? Do we even know? Joe Biden.
What is your message to allies, including those here at the G7, about what more, if anything, the U.S. can do to drive towards a peace agreement? Thank you.
I wish you guys would play by the rules a little bit. I'm here to talk about a critical situation in Ukraine. You asked me another subject.
You asked me another subject. Yeah, well, it's another big story, and you're the president of the United States. That's not you're not the president of Ukraine, although he's hanging out with Kegger boy again. You know, you see the president of Ukraine shows up everywhere he shows up. Looks like he's headed to a kegger. He's got his sweatshirt and his green jeans. He's Mr. Green Jeans. And then he gets billions of dollars every time he shows up. It's good to be him because he showed up at Normandy. He got hundreds of millions of dollars. He showed up at the G7, even though he's not a member of the G7. He had no business being at Normandy either. It's not like Ukraine participated in the liberation of France or the Normandy invasion or anything of the kind. They had been overrun by the Soviet Union long since back then, but never mind that. And you guys got to play by the rules. These are the rules, numbskull, dimwit, nincompoop. I haven't used that in a long time. And these are the rules. I'm a reporter. I flew here from Washington to cover you being here, and the big news of the day has to do with Israel, and there's a little Ukraine. You know, the news media is not covering Ukraine at all. It's as though there's no war there at all. And we've only had 550,000 Russians killed and 300,000 Ukrainians. We're working on 1 million dead. And there are no peace talks underway. In fact, Joe Biden yesterday announced a new 10-year deal between the United States and Ukraine because this war has to go on forever and ever. The war must go on. That's the Democrat Party's position. That's Joe Biden. Now, does Joe Biden have a dog in this fight? Well, you know, Ukraine funneled millions of dollars to the Biden family coffers when he was vice president. Joe Biden went in, demanded that the chief prosecutor in the country, might as well say the attorney general in the country who was investigating Burisma, the gas company that was paying Hunter Biden $1 million a year for a no-show job, and ordered that they fire the prosecutor that was looking into the company that was paying the Biden family $1 million a year. And Hunter Biden's friend, Devin Archer, was also getting just shy of $1 million a year for a no-show job. Pretty amazing stuff. Yes, sir. So yeah, they've got a dog, the Biden family. And boy, talk about return on investment. The Ukrainians funneled a couple of millions. They've gotten more than $100 billion out of the United States of America. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. All right, let's go as another but you play by the rules. These are the rules. I mean, you've only been doing this for more than half a century. Maybe you should have some idea of how this stuff works. But he doesn't. Because, why? His brain, she's a no good. She's a broke, that brain of his. It's a no good. Let's go to CNN's M.J. Lee, who is a Democrat, and talking about Joe Biden, and because I think she covered the White House for some period of time, and she was asked, well, Joe Biden says that he violated the rules by asking him a question that's not about Ukraine.
There was a moment in the press conference where the president seemed to bristle when a reporter asked him a question about the ongoing ceasefire negotiations in the Israel war. He said something to the effect of, I wish you all would stick to the rules. And of course, there are no rules when it comes to a press conference like this.
No, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. There are no rules. I think there are some rules. But there are some rules, but that was not a violation of said rules. Joe Biden just doesn't know what the rules are, nor does he care. And you guys are such a gang of fluffers that you deserve to be abused by him. You volunteer for it. You love it. You know, yesterday we did the Monty Python Holy Grail, spank me, spank me. You guys love the spanking. You want to be punished by him. I think it'll be a lot more fun when Trump is back in the White House. All right, let's grab a phone call, Michael. Let us see. Joe Biden wants the war in Ukraine to go on forever and ever. And then we just keep funneling tens and tens of billions of dollars. Putin is saying he'll accept a ceasefire if the Ukrainian troops move a little. That won't happen, though. military-industrial complex is in charge. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Joyce, calling from Houston, Texas. Joyce, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Thank you. You know, Chris, I am so glad that you are on Newsmax, and I accidentally found you in Houston. I was changing the dial, and somehow I paused, and I said, oh, that sounds like Chris, and I haven't turned this. I just love you.
I love you back, Joyce.
Thank you. But let me say this. I was reading that last year there were over 1,000 babies suctioned from their mother's womb.
Well, over a million. Over 1 million.
Yes, over 1 million. Yeah. And I thought, and a lot of these babies were little black babies. And I started thinking, I said, we kill them before they get here, and then once they get here, blacks kill more of each other than any other group. And I thought, Margaret Sanger would be so happy today because that was her intent, to lessen the Negro race. And we have succumbed to that. And, you know, I'm 91 years old, and I never would have thought that I would witness this in my 91 years on this earth. You know, when I was a girl, blacks didn't kill their babies. If a girl got pregnant when I was a girl, they sent her away to Louisiana to Aunt Lucy's house. And in a year, she came back home, and Aunt Lucy had a baby to raise.
Right.
But today, we are killing our babies, and they build these abortion mills in close proximity to black colleges, black neighborhoods, and we accept that foolishness at blacks. And I'm so tired of us being used. And when they come to election, all they have to do is to continue to keep us on the liberal plantation.
That's right. Got to vote for Trump. You're wonderful, Joyce. Thank you.